let's do a quick test. Evil Bunny here.
Hi.
Oh, do you want to go by a name or your name?
We can just go by my name, because I don't really have a name. Or I guess if I start a YouTube channel, I think I'm going to call it Culture Curious.
Oh, okay, so you want to say like Fanny, aka the Culture Curious. I just go by the Evil Bunny.
Culture Curious gal.
All right.
Okay, so.
Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, something I like to do. Let's just talk just a little bit to ourselves. This just helps move things up.
Okay.
But yeah, I did see one video that John did. I don't know where he was, but he was doing some sort of volunteer.
It might be the Volunteer Southern Africa thing, which is what we all do.
With he had like a tiger cub or a lion cub.
Volunteer Southern Africa, everyone.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to put a little bit more on the guest than me. Okay. But yeah. So there was like a lion cub or a tiger cub, and it was like licking him. It was so cute. But mind you, because we both have cats. The tiger cub was like
So cute.
huge. Like I'm trying to think like
a cub is like massive. Like,
yeah,
the rhinos, the baby rhino is
like
that's
that's
my size.
Yeah,
it's a big rhino.
Yeah, that was really
cool. So because Volunteer Southern Africa has like several different programs, so we did one of the rhino programs, but they actually have like 12 or 13 throughout mostly throughout South Africa, but they do have some others in other places. So I think the one for tigers might actually be like their big one, which is living with big cats.
Oh, okay, in like an enclosure.
Yeah, which is in Glen Afric, which is like north of Johannesburg. It's near Pretoria, which is the capital. So there you go. If you ever want to go, definitely visit the volunteer program.
Yeah, it looks
amazing. Glen Afric is one of those places that I definitely need to go back to, because a lot of the people that were there for the rhino program had actually done the Glen Afric program before. Like, so that's all everybody would talk about was that program, and it sounded amazing. And I love cats. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, we actually both have cats.
So yeah, check out the website, Volunteer Southern Africa. It's actually a great program. So
awesome. Okay, guys, this is now the second episode of INTJ Versus, and we have my really good friend here, Fanny. AKA.
Hi, Culture Curious.
Yes, and what was your Instagram handle again?
Let me find out.
Perfect.
Actually, okay, so I think it's my name. So FCZ0529. My birthday, if anyone's interested.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's what.
Yeah, I'm not very creative. It's my name and my birthday.
No, she's awesome though. So yeah, so this is our second episode now, coming probably almost a year later. If you guys remember, the first episode was with my good friend Damien F. Black, and he was an ENTP.
You're on top of that.
Yeah, I'm definitely on top of it, obviously. So today will be INTJ versus ENTJ. So the both of us both share that intuitive thinker space, so this should be really interesting. And as you guys know, like with this series, I want to get to every single type, but I definitely want to start with intuitives because we share that same weirdo space, and she's new to this actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, how many types are there in total?
There's 16 types.
Oh wow!
Right. So she's new to the whole Myers-Briggs universe. So the format will be a little different than it was before, but we're gonna still compare the different cognitive functions. Just talk about what it's like being an ENTJ, and get into like the other fun stuff that we do later on. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Don't worry, these are fun because I edit these out.
Ask you questions. Oh gosh, I'm a little nervous.
No. Okay. All right. So then, how did you learn you were an ENTJ?
So I took the quiz. I think what's it called? It's like a human metrics quiz online. So I got the link and then just did it. It only took about like 15 minutes, I think, to do the whole thing. It wasn't very long. I thought it was going to be very long, which is why it took me so long to do it. Yeah. 4 months later, I got through it. But yeah, no, I just did the quiz and then it gave me the results. And after that, it gives you, it's actually pretty extensive. I thought it was just going to be like, this is like, like the astrology thing, like this is your personality type, and it's like one line. It wasn't. It was actually pretty deep. In terms of analysis, it's like ENTJ, like personality with family, like what kind of jobs you would be good at. So it was actually very, very specific, which I thought was pretty cool because I wasn't expecting it to be as thorough as it was.
So did you feel like your your description as an ENTJ described you well?
I think it described me better than I thought it would. Again, going back to like the things that you hear, like astrology, and a lot of people kind of force their personalities into it, like, oh yeah, that's kind of like me, or they try to find ways to make it seem as though they're connected when in fact it has nothing to do with them.
Right.
But this was actually a lot closer to my personality it's as close as it could get, given the fact that people are full of, like we were saying before, people are full of contradictions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one is exactly one thing. There's people contradict themselves, even with something that they're like firm with. They have different opinions about certain things, and I didn't think it would actually catch that, but it actually did. It's like, okay, in this situation you'd be like this, but in this in this other situation you'd lean more towards that. And I'm like, yes, that's right. That's kind of exactly what I would be. So it doesn't peg you into one specific identity.
Right.
That was very, very cool.
Right. Was outside of, okay, so you talked a little bit about how you weren't expecting how precise it was. Was there something in particular that kind of strikes you as being very accurate in particular?
I think it was an ENTJ, so that's what, extrovert, intuitive, thinking, judging.
Right.
The intuitive part was actually very, very high. That I thought was pretty, I don't know how good my intuition is, but I do like to think, I don't know, things happen and they're like, oh, of course I knew that was coming. It's like, that's not me, essentially, but more along the sense of, you have a situation, I like to think several possible outcomes. I don't like to be surprised. So I guess that's where the intuition comes in the sense that you don't get surprised, or like, yes, you can probably guess something's about to happen because I think about the possibilities, or as many possibilities as I can before a situation happens.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And that just makes it easier. That's why when exactly. That's why when the outcome comes out, and I'm just like, well, yeah, of course, that was one possible outcome, and everyone's just like, oh, how'd you guess it? And I'm like, it's one of several outcomes. I just thought about them beforehand.
What's interesting about what you just said, because she's like learning about Myers-Briggs and the cognitive functions, and it's funny how you kind of hit the nail on the head about.
Did I?
You did, because you have to understand, even though ENTJ stands for extrovert, intuitive, thinking, judging, it's not in the way that like our vocabulary like. Let me try and get a good like one sentence description for you.
Yeah.
Because it's not extroverted in terms of like you like people. It's extroversion in terms of how you gain energy. So you gain energy from being around other people.
Yes.
Whereas for me as an introvert, I lose energy from being around other people.
Really?
So it has, and Aisha, our friend, she's ISFJ, so she's the same way, but it's a little different because she's a feeler. So I'm gonna pull up a little short description.
I mean, I guess that's true. I mean, it's good. I think better when I'm on my own, like, like if you have, I love being around people. It does give me energy. If there's like a big project though, I do like to think about it on my own, quietly, come up with different ideas, solutions. Then, yeah, when you're with people and you're surrounded by people, all these ideas come in, you can kind of put yours forward. And then an initial idea can come out even better when you're surrounded by people. You can come up with new ideas, new strategies, new ways of thinking, and I don't know. It's just, I just like it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm trying to pull up something. Okay, so this is a pretty good definition. So I'm just looking at something on Pinterest, right? So once again, we talked about energy. So as an extrovert, you gain energy from other people. So here are a couple of attributes that go with that. So initiating, expressive, gregarious, active, and enthusiastic, right?
Yes.
Now, secondly, the second part, intuitive, right? There's two options for each. So basically, with each letter, it's assessing different things in your personality. So like extroversion versus introversion is how you interact with people, right? Intuitive versus sensing is how you process information. Thinking is how you make decisions. Logic versus feeling. And then judging, the last part is your general lifestyle, which is either being more go with the flow or being more systematic and pragmatic, right? So all of these things, this is how personality is defined, and it comes from the works of Carl Jung, and then so it's been developed a lot over the years. So those are like the four tenets of it, right?
Okay.
Now within that, there are 8 cognitive functions. So now I'm going to compare her cognitive functions with mine. Now, as you guys know, since you guys are, you're watching this, so you're probably like know a little bit more. ENTJs and INTJs actually have the same cognitive functions.
Okay.
They're just ordered differently, right? So, in INTJs and INTJ, I lead with introverted intuition. My auxiliary position is extroverted thinking. My tertiary position is introverted feeling, and then my inferior function, meaning the function I'm weakest at, is extroverted sensing. So this is how it orders for her as an ENTJ. She leads with extroverted thinking, which is my auxiliary. It means you command it better than I do. Your auxiliary is introverted intuition.
Does it mean I'm bossy?
A little bit.
I can be a little
Yeah. A little bit. Which I've been learning about you like later on, because when I first met you, I didn't think that about you at all.
No, because I'm so small, and I think I tend to come out as almost like a little meek.
Yeah.
You put me in a leadership position, I'm like, do that. Now, let's go. Come on, people.
She
And I was
has
just
no
like, where's my
problem.
chart?
Yeah, being decisive and making like directives, which I didn't know about her when I met her, because we've known each other for 10 years
We
now.
have. And we're still learning about each other.
Yeah,
every single day.
Yeah, they'll still learning about each other. Okay, so then your auxiliary is introverted intuition. Okay, so this is where it flips. Your tertiary position is extroverted sensing, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
She's
you break
very
that down for me?
cultured. Yeah. I just want to just say what it is. And then her inferior function is introverted feeling, which means you have the least access to your feeling function out of the 4 functions. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, so when it comes to cognitive functions, the top one, the first one, is the one that comes so naturally to you. It's something that you've easily been able to command since you were a child. So basically, out of the 4, each stage of your life, you're developing each one. So the inferior one is the one you're worst at.
Yes.
But between now and age 40-ish is when you have full command over that function.
Wow.
It's basically the idea that the psyche always wants to be whole. So the things you're good at, like when you're younger, eventually you're going to want to branch out and do things you didn't do before or that don't naturally come to you.
That's so that you can make your personality more rounded.
The psyche is always trying to become whole. So that's kind of like where that comes from. And in developing your inferior function, it usually doesn't come into play until mid-20s to 40s, which is why a lot of people have midlife crisis, because they end up developing something that is completely it's completely the opposite of what people know them to be.
So it's almost as if it's new. It's kind of
It comes new,
Wow.
but it's just that it's their weakest function, so they don't do it well.
Right.
It's something that they don't naturally. So then that's when it comes off as like the older guy in the Corvette with the 18-year-old.
And then he buys like a Harley.
Right, exactly, because
He's
it's
a
developing
Porsche,
his
and you're just
sensing
like,
function
here.
that he may not have had access to, or his extrovert intuition for
Got it.
another one.
Okay, that actually makes sense. I never really thought of it like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the basis. So if we talk a little bit about the cognitive functions, and we'll just like kind of go down them. So, like you said, extroverted thinking. So that's your main one, right?
Right.
So talk a little bit like when you were a kid, were you kind of bossy? Because I started thinking, oh wait, hold on, this is what I wanted to do. Now that I think about it, because I want to talk specifically about the functions. Oh, this is good. This is good.
Bossy. I mean, you have to get. I suppose it was the way of trying to get attention. It's not like the me. Like,
Right.
it kind of is that. But there's so many, especially like in school. Growing up in New York City, there's so many kids. It's like 30, 35 kids in the class, and everyone wants their own voice. Being small, you have to really make your personality shine through.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get lost amongst the crowd. And then also, my dad is very strong personality. Like, people think I might have a bit of a strong. My dad is just a whole other dimension. And I guess in that sense, it just kind of helps you. It pushes you to be more as well.
Yeah.
So that can kind of be it. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess bossy as you get older, that if you can actually hone it to more like leadership skills, because I did JROTC in high school. So they taught me, and I fully intended, like, one of my other options was to go into the military. I was seriously debating going into West Point, because you have all those, like, skills, and they're like, oh, great, you're great at public speaking.
Oh, that makes
you're
perfect sense.
great at doing, like, charts. You're great at, like, commanding people. And I was like, maybe this could be your craft. You can go this and make it branch out even more and command that skill and make it even better. So that's kind of where it went. And I guess that is that. Like, so you have that extroverted kind of, not bossy, but essentially a personality where you like to lead.
Right.
And I learned that. I mean, I guess I was always good at it. And then in high school, it just kind of blossomed, and they helped you. It blossoms, but with a certain discipline, so that as bossy as you are, or as much as you feel like your personality, you have to control it, because as a leader, you have to let other people slowly take command as well. So
that's. What I want to say is that extroverted thinking gets a reputation for bossy. Obviously, that's not what it actually is.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you some
strong personality.
Yeah,
and wanting to take command and lead. Yes.
And another thing to think about the cognitive functions is that it describes the what's the word? What is the word I'm thinking of? The direction that function goes in. So, I could give you a definition, but like when it comes to extroverted thinking, it's about applying your logic outward to the world, right? So everyone has 2 extroverted functions and 2 introverted, right? Okay. So your extroverted function as a thinker would include, strong decision making, constructing visual images, optimized use of the brain. Why does it say fabricate/lie? What is this? Right? Well, so there's 2 different ways you can use thinking. So for example, like when you think of and these are like huge just generalizations. I'm just trying to give her a picture. But like when you think of like a computer hacker, computer nerd, something, they have introverted thinking because they're more about systems that are internal, kind of like the type of kids that like to break things apart and figure out what's in them.
That makes sense, like a computer.
Right. Whereas extroverted thinkers will likely try to make their external world kind of systematic, as opposed to like going inside. It's more like, let me find out as much as I need to about something so that I can apply it in action.
Right.
Versus people that are like, no, I'm going to break this apart and I want to get down to like the root and like figure out how to build it back up again. Like that may not be something that we're the most interested in. Or what do you feel about that?
I guess that kind of so introverted is more like basically like almost like I'm thinking of like the person who develops the software.
Right.
The extroverted person is the person that uses it.
Yeah, that uses it or sells it or markets it.
Gotcha.
Which kind of goes into like a little bit of your field, right?
I was in public relations.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of like what extroverted
marketing and PR. That's hilarious.
Exactly. Okay, so introverted thinking. So this is introverted intuition. So this is your auxiliary. And another way to think of it is also like out of the 4 functions, it's how much you have command at most to least. Okay. So a lot of times people say the auxiliary, the secondary function is like the co-pilot. So it's something that it's almost as intrinsic as our dominant function, but it does take a little bit of effort to access.
Okay.
Right. So, for example, I have her dominant function as my secondary, so it's something I can do very well, but it requires me to not be lazy, whereas for her, it comes 100% naturally, right? So, introverted intuition is, I'm just going to say a little bit about it, being able to project into the future, to draw upon entire mind to foresee or determine an answer, and weigh many factors at once. It's basically thinking, the way I like to compare extrovert intuition to introverted intuition is like introverted intuition is taking everything and looking for the central point that connects it. Okay. Versus extroverted intuition is taking a central point and connecting it outwards, looking for endless possibilities. While we're looking for, in our mind, the possibilities that matter. Okay. Like that would be a way to define it. So, and this is why I knew she wasn't intuitive, because a lot of things, there's a lot of reasons I kind of knew you were intuitive. That's cool that you just kind of knew, based on my personality, you could kind of gather. Oh, absolutely. You could guess like 2 out of it. You just kind of knew. It's like, you have to be this and you have to be that. Yeah, exactly. I was very sure she was an extrovert, and I was very sure that she was intuitive. And this is why I always
dominant male?
Very much so. Most women are feelers, and most men are. Okay, so
One thing I'm laughing.
yeah. So in saying that, it's not as obvious as it sounds. It's more about decision making skills. So it's not like you can't feel or you don't have a lot of emotion. It's about when it comes down to making a decision, you're going to use the logic and how to optimize something, what's efficient, what's fair, as opposed to like, okay, let me weigh emotional factors more.
Yeah, that's something that I would honestly never do.
Right, exactly.
I might change, if I get older, as I get married, as you were saying, as you get older yourself, have children. I feel like it will change, but I think for the most part,
not much though.
Not much, but I feel no, because I feel like I would probably logic will always, for the most part, rule over any decision that I make.
For example, right? One way I'm always able to tell if a girl is a thinker versus a feeler is like something that's very. Look at this group. This is hilarious. Like they're all the same shirt. Yeah, it's just funny.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It's about how we, I can always tell by how we process things that are expected upon us by society. So, for example, an intuitive thinking female will most likely not fit the societal expectations of her, right? So, for example, if you're a feeler female, right, you're probably always either going to be in a relationship or thinking about when you'll be in your next relationship. And a lot of your decisions, exactly what you're saying, a lot of your decisions will be based on that,
right?
Because for a few reasons.
That describes one of my friends perfectly, like Sex in the City kind of friend. Like her life is nothing if she's not in a relationship.
Yeah,
exactly. She's planning her next one the minute she breaks up.
And you would be surprised. I mean, like no shade on sensory feeler women because we love them.
That's just what she is. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong.
That's
but our percentage, like intuitive thinker females, it's like I think it's like less than 5% of the female population.
I bet Hillary Clinton's intuitive.
Yeah, I think she's intuitive.
She is not a feeler.
At least she's a thinker. She could be a sensory thinker. Sensory thinkers are usually managers and leaders, but they tend to do things by the book. They're not very innovative. That's a whole other thing.
It's
so, it's like there's a lot
confused.
Yeah, there's a lot. Okay, so intuitive thinkers are abstract thinkers, right? So abstract in terms of we're often thinking about things that are not 100% apparent to the eye, and we care and are passionate about things that other people will be like, why would you care about that? So it's very likely you have a lot of hobbies and interests that everyone around you does not share.
Thinks is odd.
Yeah, like a lot of esoteric things, or just basically, right? Most people, the culture they're born in, they'll stick with it. They'll stick with it. They will not branch out.
No, that's why my dad always thought I was a weirdo.
Right. So just by nature of being an intuitive, you're going to be constantly thinking and interested in things that are outside of your immediate environment.
This is what I mean when I was taking the test, that the responses like that, they got me so clearly and deeply, and I was like, things like that would throw me off, and I'm like, why is this surprisingly accurate? Because that's exactly what you said was pretty much true. So if you're not aware, so my family is pretty much Latin America. My dad's Nicaraguan, my mom's Ecuadorian, so very much my dad expected me to be a little girly, but wanted me to be a cheerleader, and he honestly thought at this point I'd be married. And that was just not me. I did taekwondo, I've done karate, lectures, things like that. So very, very, they're not uneducated. They're just, I think like certain like tight-knit communities, like a Latin kind of, they're very traditional. So they don't really think of anything other than the family. So things like that, like traveling, going abroad. I loved archaeology, classical studies. I studied Latin. I thought it was amazing. Like archaeology, things like that, like traveling the world, going to South Africa, things like that. That's the kind of going to Egypt. My dad still doesn't understand why my obsession with Egypt, with archaeology, with Egyptology started from a very young age. Was that, and honestly, he's right. I don't fit within the family. Like my grandpa called me crazy. He was like, I went on to South Africa, and he's just like, why the hell are these kids nowadays traveling the world? It just doesn't make any sense to them. So yes, in that sense, I've always been a bit of an oddball that I'm not really interested. I love it and I appreciate my culture, but I just feel like there's so much more to see out there, and I want to see it. And that's just kind of how it's always been. I know you're absolutely right. My parents, particularly my father, he's never really understood it. fine with it. He's just like, yeah, she's like my weird daughter.
That's the common response that most, especially intuitive thinker females, like intuitive thinker men get that too. But I think that there's also a thing culturally with men where they're more pushed to explore things, to explore their boundaries.
I feel like with men there is an expectation that sure, travel the world, go backpacking. For women to go backpacking by themselves, that was unheard of. I had so many people telling me that when I went, that I was gonna get, like, something was gonna happen to me, like, don't go by yourself, this is a bad idea, like, only guys do this, and of course it just made me want to do it more.
Yeah, exactly. I think that society really expects women to only explore what is inside of those boundaries. And so I think that at some point society does try to push everyone into a box, but at the very least they try to give men that leverage to, okay, go explore, and then you come back and you do this and this. With women, it's never like that. It's like, okay, now you're done with school, now you need to do this.
At least, and definitely not in traditional family.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you do not, there are certain social ramifications of that. So I think it was like the ROTC when I found out you did that. I was just like, and mind you, I've been kind of like casually studying MBTI for like 10-ish years, but it's like I make little mental notes, so I was just like, okay, that's not a typically girl thing to do.
It really isn't.
It's just not.
Well, like after school, like my dad expected me to do cheerleading. I told him I joined the rifle drill team. I was like, what does that mean? I was like, Dad, I spin rifles.
I love it.
It's like a Deck Kelly, like the that's essentially what I was doing.
Yeah.
There was like the girl version, which is almost like step. But I didn't like that. I wanted the rifle and to spin in the air. I thought there was a certain beauty in that as well. And one of the reasons I seriously considered Army was the possibility of traveling, which I wouldn't be able to do otherwise, or at least at the time I didn't think I was going to do in the future. So I was like, that was a good possibility. I seriously considered it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always that initiative. Like, I think especially within ENTJ female, like, you're not gonna tell her, oh no, you can't do that. It's like, excuse me? Like, that's what I feel like. It's like, I'm going to do that. It's like, what's happening? Like, I already booked the flight. Like, I'm there already. So
you do get used to people just telling you, like, no, that's not a good idea, don't do this. One of the reasons why I studied abroad, I went to Leeds, I didn't tell my parents that I applied to grad school.
I didn't know that.
I didn't tell my parents that I applied abroad. I applied to Toronto, which had a great archaeology program up. University of Toronto was fantastic. And Leeds, I didn't tell my parents that I applied abroad because I knew that my father would say, no, you can't go. So I only told him that I was going when I showed him my acceptance letter, and I showed him proof that I could pay for it. I started covering it.
Nice.
If I didn't, he would have been like, oh, but who's going to pay for this? I'm not going to pay for that. But I just handed him literally my acceptance letter and the financial aid and be like, hey, guess what? I'm going to England, and that was it.
One thing I've known about you since I've met you is that your level of self-sufficiency, I think you take it for granted. It's like,
really?
It's unprecedented for a female, like, especially around our age, because she was even like that when we were like 18 or 19. It's like, you were extremely self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And I don't think you know how many just like people or females like can't even go to the bathroom by themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I remember that being a thing where everyone's like, I can't, like, can you go to the bathroom? And it's like, that's just a natural thing.
I thought that might be a natural. I think that might also be a female-oriented thing. Like, you never go to the bathroom alone just because of the dangers.
It was restaurant.
I know, but you never know. You really never know what's gonna happen. But yeah, no, I just kind of like walked by myself. What did I? Oh my god! I was just like walking around South Africa, like just walking around myself at night. There's like a lion howling.
I would do that. That's why it's so awesome.
The two guys are asleep, and I'm just like walking back and forth. There's like a rhino there, and I'm just like playing with sleeping rhinos. And you know it's a bad idea, but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really think about that. Yeah,
because, like I said, it comes natural. Like, especially with your dominant function, it comes so naturally. You take it for granted.
Like, wait, you don't
think about it
by yourself in New York at night, like.
No, honey,
you don't cross. You don't cross the Williamsburg Bridge. It's beautiful at night, honestly. It's really nice.
Yeah. No, but that's why it's very awesome.
I suppose
it's very awesome, and I bet you're also a person. It's not very easy to hurt your feelings either.
I mean, I I feel like nobody likes being like mocked, made fun of.
Right.
It does hurt people's feelings no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're like the strongest person. It's uncomfortable to feel rejected, ignored, made fun of. But no, it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
I mean, it does bother me, but it's one of those things where you take it in stride and you move on.
Criticism wouldn't crush you.
No. Constructive criticism doesn't bother me. In fact, I expect it. I encourage it because it helps me figure out what's wrong, what I'm doing wrong, and how to correct it. Which is great because the whole purpose, at least my whole purpose, is to become a better person and to grow in every way possible. So if there's something that I'm doing, if there's something that I can do better,
to constantly learn, right?
Exactly. Now, again, that's constructive criticism.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go and just say I hate your outfit because I don't like the way it looks, girl.
Yeah, exactly. Put the shades on.
You got yeah, that's different.
Okay, side note, I'm gonna move on to sensing, but I've never seen you turn up on anyone. Do you ever turn up on people?
I don't think, no, honestly, I don't think I ever have, because I've never gotten to the point where something that you say has offended me to the point where I could even be bothered. Like, it's not worth it. Something like insulting my family or insulting my family's upbringing, something like that would probably get me riled up, but nobody's ever done that.
Right.
So I think for the most part I've been pretty well respected, and it's that back and forth exchange, respect me and I respect you back. It's
exactly.
Just like a normal common courtesy thing. So no, I don't think things have ever escalated to the point where it's been confrontational. I don't know what I've
turned up, but yeah.
In terms of confrontation, I feel like what's one of those things in Spanish culture is like, there's a Spanish term for it, but essentially it's beware of the quiet types.
Those are the ones.
Because those are the ones that explode. I don't think, in terms of situations, I try to diffuse it as much as possible. I avoid confrontation, but have there been instances where I felt like I've come close to exploding? Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know what will happen when I do. I feel like it might be bad, because all those years of pent-up aggression.
I think that's sometimes too, because it's like,
might be bad.
I have debates with people, but I don't really have fights. It would take me, I haven't had a physical fight since I was 16.
There's just too much effort going into getting angry. It's just not worth it.
It's like I have a whole escalating system and no one's hit level 10 yet.
But I feel like there's this moment where you have to, there's a moment comes where you have to be fierce. Something happens, you're in a dangerous situation and you have to toughen up, in which case, boom.
Yeah. I feel like things generally roll off your back, because we were in a sorority together and
there was a lot of drama.
And I was never her ever. Yeah.
There was this one time, and I told Liliana, I don't think I ever told you, but were you even there? We had this big drama. It had to do with like funds for the Haiti thing. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember that it was just back and forth. And so what happened was that there was a lot of craziness going on. That was like the only time that I was actually directly involved in drama.
Yeah.
And I started to cry.
Really?
I didn't cry, but I started to tear up and I started to choke. Like, I was getting all teary-eyed. And I do remember, because Liliana was there as well, and everyone just kind of like, because nobody was used to hearing me.
Maybe I do remember.
It was just like,
maybe I do remember.
Everyone was kind of nervous, crying. And then afterwards, Liliana and I, this is something that I've never confessed. I confessed to Liliana, but Liliana and I took a taxi ride home, and I confessed to her that I was pretending to cry only to defuse the situation so that people would calm down. So that people would calm down.
Keep that note so I can stop it.
So we'll go
okay, so so you're talking about the time that she used tears to diffuse the situation.
Yes. So again, I'm not the most emotional person. It was really high tension.
This is fine.
It was a pretty high tension and stuff like that. And I just remember everyone was just going off. So I started to get choked up and like I was getting all teary-eyed, and then I remember everyone slowed down, everyone stopped. Nobody was used to seeing me cry, and it de-escalated the situation, and everyone's like, okay, we'll talk about it. And it went okay, and then afterwards I took a cab ride home with my friend Liliana, and it was a very dramatic, it was like a acting 101. I just kind of wiped my tears, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that actually worked. And Megan, pretended to cry to defuse the situation.
Oh, we got the
I don't like
part.
drama.
Yeah, we got it. You said you were in the cab after that, because that's clear.
Yeah, it's a little story like that.
So that was was calculating. Like, you didn't even actually cry.
No.
Side note, when's the last time you cried?
Oh God, I've gotten really sentimental over the years. Like,
I have too. I used to be a tough bitch. I don't know what happened to me.
What was it? On the plane ride, the KLM actually has like a lot of like great movies and stuff to watch. Service was great. So yeah, I was like watching like La La Land, and I'm like bawling at the end. It's not even that dramatic of a film.
Okay, I don't know if movies count. What's something last time you cried because of something in your personal life?
Movies don't count?
No, honey.
No, I feel like they do because they allow your emotions to
I mean your life. I mean something like it could be something that happened, but it has to be real. Like it could even be something on TV. Like you know what I mean? Like when's the last time in your life you cried for something that actually happened?
I had an existential crisis about life like 2 weeks ago, and I was bawling into my pillow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have those all the time. Okay, that's good.
Life, it's the whole. What does it mean?
And that's another thing with intuitives. We tend to always be having existential crisis because we're thinking. You know what I like to say about in intuitives in general? I feel like as an intuitive, let's say we're at a point, right? Like we're looking at life from like a 90-degree angle, or most people are when they're a kid. And then each year you get more and more of an understanding, so your field of vision opens more and more and more. And then by the time like let's say up until like for regular people they may be 60 and they've like seen everything.
Yeah.
I feel like intuitives have looked there 30 years ahead. So whereas like basically I mean like the general. Okay,
you start young, because I started contemplating how old I was and how much time I had left and like what I was doing with life when on my 12th birthday.
Yeah.
I was just like, there's no
I think I was 14, but yeah, there you go.
No. You just think about those things, and it's one of those things where like I don't know. I feel like people with higher intuitive.
I think everyone thinks about it, but I think it's different.
Do you think about it more often? I feel like we think about it more
often, and sensors will. Something that I kind of envy a little bit more about sensors is that they'll just distract themselves with something visceral and real.
Wow.
So they could distract themselves where it's like, okay, well, it means I need to find a new partner, or it means I need to go shopping. I'm not trying to minimize what it means to be a sensor. What I mean is that they'll pick something in the real concrete world that uses their five senses to alleviate personal pain and discomfort. So as an intuitive, that's not your natural go-to. You're not going to use that like to numb.
No, that's an escape. Why would you do that?
Because it makes people feel better. Right. It doesn't come as naturally. Which is not to say that intuitives don't do it, but it's not going to help.
I'm sure.
You know, because if you're intuitive and you're like going to dull yourself with like stuff, like
yeah, I'm sure people do.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so on the subject on dulling ourselves, let's talk about extroverted sensing now.
Okay.
So this is now going into your functions that you don't have the best command over.
Okay.
So like for example, extroverted sensing for you is if let's say it had to be a car, right? Extroverted sensing is like not in the passenger seat for you. It's like in the back, kind of like where the teenager sits.
Okay.
Not the oldest either, the middle child, right?
Okay.
And something I've known about her is that extroverted sensing cares about aesthetics. Like it cares about aesthetics in terms of like in her slot would care about it in terms of like quality, like liking quality food or quality places. Like on our way here, it was funny because she was pointing out all these like fancy restaurants and fancy stores, like oh there's Swarovski and stuff. I'm just like places that I don't go, right? And it's not in a snooty way. I think that it can come off. Has anyone ever said that to you? Because I know she's not. She's not.
No.
She just likes quality things.
That is okay. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I did fashion PR, funnily enough. So yes. But there's two things that I will always. Quality is important to me. And there's two things that I will always am willing to spend money on. I don't spend money on jewelry because I don't really wear jewelry. I tend to.
I hear her back, so that's fine. It's gonna edit that one. So let's get our seating positioning. Okay, this is good. I'm trying to think. I think I was talking about extroverted sensing with you, right? So that's in your. Oh, was it here?
Yeah, there's like a white hair, and that's not yours.
Yeah, no, it's probably the thing. Okay. Yeah, so we were talking about extroverted sensing, how that's in your tertiary slot, right?
Okay.
And I was saying that extroverted sensing cares about aesthetics, right? So there's some other things to describe extroverted sensing. So it says it's able to be calm in tense situations. It recalls details of recent data with high fidelity, identify objects, and has smooth body motion. Right, so it's like having a very good, right? Yeah, like people with extrovert sensing probably are good at dancing. Do you dance?
I love dancing.
Yeah, they're really good at dancing.
It's also it's also a Spanish thing. Like
oh yeah, that's true too.
Salsa, merengue.
Yeah, that's definitely
Bachata.
that's definitely true. And I was saying to her that since extroverted sensing is in her third slide, that it makes her value quality, right? So
yeah, we were
even if something isn't expensive, it's quality. So
I'm willing to pay for it.
You're willing to pay for it. So the difference is, I was saying if she had it as her auxiliary or her dominant slide, it would make her a lot more into, like, let's think of a positive way to call it, like more into trends. So like someone that is a dominant extroverted sensor, they care about trends, like they care how things look. But in her slide, it's more just caring about quality.
Yeah, I'm aware of trends, but it's more about the product itself, which is why we were saying, like, I don't mind spending extra money at a restaurant, at a good restaurant, if I know the quality is going to be well.
Right.
Otherwise, I just don't see the point.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
For us, for INTJs, extroverted sensing is our bottom slide, so it's inferior. So it actually, let's put it this way, it leads our ego in a weird way. So like, for instance, like your most underdeveloped senses kind of lead you, even though people are like, oh, I don't see you liking that, right? Because people know you primarily by your dominant and auxiliary, right?
Right. So they don't know. Yeah, people tend to not realize. They peg you into something they don't realize. If people are more rounded, they do have more interests.
Right. So that's why what could be leading you could be something very altruistic, introverted feeling, or something that values aesthetics, like extroverted sensing. However, on first glance, are people that only have a surface level understanding of you would say, that's not you. And it was interesting because you told me something similar to that you had that sort of experience where you were like regarding your career field, you felt like people didn't understand like what drew you to it,
right? To a certain thing, or like that's not really you. And I was like, well, it's part of me. It's just not all of what I do. It's one interest of many.
Right.
Yeah.
What's funny, and I like to tell people this, right? We'll talk about introverted feeling now. Now, introverted feeling is one of my favorite cognitive functions just because it's extremely intense, right? But its intensity is dictated by the slot it takes in your personality, right? So I'm going to tell you about introverted feeling. So introverted,
I have the least of.
Yeah, that's what you have least of. And that's, for me, it's my third.
Okay.
So it's what is of personal value to oneself, listening with the whole mind and tone of voice. Okay, let me explain how I see it, right? So there's introverted and extroverted feeling, right? Extroverted feeling, I have a serious problem with, right? Because extroverted feeling cares about what the group cares about.
Right.
So it's a type of person that if there's, let's say, a personal issue happening with someone, they try to dispel the issue, the conflict, but by appealing to everyone else, like trying to be a people pleaser. Right, so that's the opposite. Introverted feeling, what we have is the opposite. It's more about what we personally feel is our values and convictions and sticking to it no matter what. So it doesn't necessarily match with society's ethics or morals. It's our own personal moral and ethical guide based on our values. And it's introverted because it literally is about, okay, this is the way I assess things. This is what I feel like is right. This is what I feel like is wrong. Right. Even if society says something different, it doesn't matter because this is how I feel. So for me, in my tertiary position, I've come against it a lot because the majority of people have extroverted feeling, right?
Oh, wow, okay.
So basically that's why it's like I'll have a lot of conversations where I'm like, oh, I'm so tired of people. I'm so tired of societal expectations.
Yeah.
Because even if, another thing with extroverted feeling is that all extroverted functions are slightly shallow because they're directed outwards, right? Introverted functions are they have more depth to them. right? Because you're going to spend more time with it, right? So if you have introverted feeling, it means that you have very deep passions and very deep convictions, and you hold true to them no matter what.
Okay.
Even if other people disagree, even if other people don't like it.
Very true. Yeah.
Right. And that's where you come into a little bit of trouble, because your dominant thinking will always be so basically everything's at war with each other.
Always,
in your psyche.
Yeah.
So it's like if you lead with thinking, then your opposite is feeling. So it's like you're considering things that you want to do, but if there's no reason to it, if there's no logic to it, you'll probably hesitate to do it,
Yeah.
even though inside you really want to, because your thinking logical side is like, and that's what you lead with. So the same thing over here, except mine's is like sensing more so, where it's like there's things that I may want to experience, but if I don't feel like they fit into a plan, or if they're wasteful, I won't do it.
Okay.
But I still want to do it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, like for example, if you are feeler female, right? It's like, let's say there's like a guy that you know you're not supposed to be with, and all your friends are like, no, and you're like, I know I shouldn't. I can give you 35 reasons why I shouldn't, but I'm doing it. So it's not that you don't think. It's not that thinkers don't feel or feelers don't think. It's just about what ends up taking precedence. But the problem is that our psyches are always in conflict. So even though something takes precedence, doesn't mean we forget about the other thing.
Right. Okay.
You know, it's and if anything else, because everyone has different, like basically every function I told you, someone that's their best trait.
Right.
So like someone has introvert feeling as a dominant. Someone has, and actually the type of people that will trigger you most are people that have your inferior as a dominant, because they're a shining example of everything you lack.
Oh wow.
So the types of people that not that I dislike, but that I'll find myself oddly like attracted to are people that are dominant extroverted sensors, because I'm so in awe at how they live their life like that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So but they look at me and be like, how does she live her life like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's
Whole opposites attract kind of thing.
Right.
There's a grain of truth to that.
Yeah. But the only thing is I've noticed that in general, introverts tend to be more attracted to whoever that extroverted dominant is. I don't know if extroverts feel that way. I'm trying to figure out a way I can get you to answer. So like, let me see.
Here's the question. Okay.
I'm gonna name celebrities that have dominant introverted feeling that have been somewhat confirmed.
Okay.
Michael Jackson, Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
John Mayer, like very like deep, passionate people that like there may be a lot of criticisms because they kind of like go to the beat of their own sort of like, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay.
Where someone with dominant introverted feeling is going to do a lot of things that look not sensical, but it makes total sense to them because of their value system and because they honor their value system.
Right. All right.
So if there's something deep in you that you really, really want to do, but you can't find any logic or sense to do it, you should do it. I'm going to tell you why. Because there's going to come a point in your life where you're going to be compelled to do it. And it may not be the best time for you to do it. That being said, I can think of a million instances where I'm ignoring that with myself. You know, where I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. Someday. But then that someday comes, and it may not be the best time.
Oh wow.
So for our friend, I didn't really tell her to be talking about. Yeah, but for like Aisha, whatever, like hers is extrovert intuition. So that's like a lot of traveling. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell her like, you need to be traveling more. And she's like, I really want to, but I can't. It's like one of those sort of things where you're like, she should, because then you'll find yourself at some point like just dipping, like just like waking up one day to go to work and like, okay, I'm just gonna go to Thailand because that's where I'm going today. People are like, wait, what are you doing? Yeah, I've been wanting to do this for 35 years. So, you know what I mean? So, and I'd like to know what that is for you, if you can think of anything where like you really want to do it, but you can't justify doing it right now.
I suppose what we were talking about, how office, I've come to realize that I don't like working in an office environment, and I've always thought about starting my own business or like my own kind of like nonprofit organization, but it's just like it doesn't seem sensible. It's not the most sensible thing to do at the moment because it doesn't there's a lot of things that could go wrong. There's a lot of time commitment. There's so many things that basically being an entrepreneur, it's tricky because there's a lot more work involved, and it's just easier to work in an office despite the fact that I hate it. There are things like that, but there is an instance where I went ahead and did it anyway, and that was when I actually went to South Africa.
Was that an impromptu decision?
That was an impromptu.
Oh my God, I love myself because that's what happens. Because like when you
because the thing is that I love traveling. I don't mind being on my own. So it was basically like it was like a thing on YouTube, and I won the contest to go to South Africa, which was on itself kind of odd because
I didn't know you won a contest.
It was the John Watson one.
Oh,
for VS.
Yeah,
I
thought that was just your friend.
No, I got to know him through the program. So there was a contest on YouTube, 1 minute video about why you wanted to go to this place. I actually didn't win because it was to go to Kenya. So I did a 1 minute submission video. It was actually really embarrassing. I have it on my computer. I don't think I'm ever going to post that anywhere. But I got an email about a week later saying that they didn't win. I didn't win, but they thought the video was funny. Would I be interested in going to South Africa instead for another incentive for another program? So they're like, it's on these dates. We'll pay for the volunteer program. You just have to find your way to get there. So pay for your own ticket. So it was like a few days, like 1-2 days to decide, and I was just like, I've always wanted to go to a volunteer program. Helping endangered species is one of those things. If I did a nonprofit, it would probably be about that. And I was just like, everyone was like, oh, you shouldn't do it. South Africa, it's dangerous. And then I went, I'm going to do it. So I did.
I love it.
I bought my ticket, and 3 weeks later, there I was.
That's such a great example because I feel like if you're going to do things that are in your inferior slots, you kind of just need to do them. You can't rationalize it because if you try to rationalize it, you'll stop yourself.
The rational part of me was saying I really shouldn't, but there's that part of me that always wanted to do it. And I guess it's the feeling part of me that I keep down that I want to do it, but I couldn't justify doing it. And then I'm like,
but what's hilarious is that your inferior function is literally it's kind of like that point in the horizon that you keep following that you don't reach, but you instinctively follow it.
Right.
So then it becomes one of the situations where people are like, I don't understand why this is happening. It's like, no, but this is actually the real me.
Yeah.
You know,
nobody understood what I was doing.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, people are.
I was talking to Aisha and talking to Liliana, and it made sense to me. I was like, bye. And then apparently they were like, one day Fanny just posted on Facebook, I'm off to Cape Town, bye. And everyone was just like, what? Nobody understood it. And it made perfect sense to me. I was like, of course I'm going to Cape Town. Why wouldn't I go to South Africa? I've always wanted to go there. And they're like, you did? So I guess, for everybody else, my family too, everyone was surprised. But I did the same thing. I wanted to go to somewhere abroad when I was working. I had like 2 weeks vacation. They're like, oh, where do you want to do? You want to do something similar? Do you want to go to London? Do you want to go to Europe? And I was like, no, I want to go to Thailand. And I want to be on my own, and I want to go hiking, and I just want to camp out. And they were like, why? Like, what? And I was just like, yeah, I like doing that.
I love how as you get older, like for me too, like I feel like when I was younger, I was very judgmental of things. Like things I didn't understand or things that just like didn't make sense. But now that I get older, I'm finding sense in senselessness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm finding value in things that aren't like tangible or things that aren't accomplishments. Right, things that to kind of do.
They don't have like a monetary value.
Right, there's no monetary value, or you can't put that on like your resume.
Some people never understand it. Like my father doesn't understand volunteering. Like to this day, he still doesn't understand why you don't get paid.
Right. I mean, yeah, and I think that internal value system, like for example, like an INFP or something, they have introverted feelings, and they might spend half their life doing that.
Wow.
And just I feel like an INFP is like
I wouldn't.
No, but be like, what are those people that travel like helping in other countries? Do you know what I mean? Like I can't.
Those are volunteers, and then of course you have the programs.
Yeah, it's like they're most likely to be those types to do that and then dedicate their life to it.
There's like some form of missionary work or something like that. Got it.
Because their internal, it's not a question.
It's just something that they have to do.
Right. It's like
it's one of those things that I've always wanted to do, but I think like financial stability always wins out, and I'm just like, okay, I'll travel the world and help people, but for 10 years
a limit.
From now,
you have to do it in your style.
Yeah.
So you have to be the person sticking to your values in your Fanny style, in your ENTJ style.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not gonna be to the highest level as it would be with someone else, you know, where it's just, but it's gonna be good for you.
Yeah,
you know
if
what
I'm
I
doing
mean?
it my way, it wouldn't be like volunteering, like helping because I love cheetahs. I wouldn't go. I think the best thing that I would do, if I could do it, maybe one day I will, isn't to like occasionally volunteer, go to like certain countries in Africa that have cheetahs to help the population. I would probably just save up enough money, buy land, and set up like a cheetah sanctuary. That would probably be the best thing that I would want to do. Like no volunteering. I'll set up a whole organization around it, and I'm like, that makes sense to me.
That's awesome. That's all good stuff. So now we've gone through all her cognitive functions, and as you guys know, I like to end each episode, as in that one episode that we've had so far. But I wanted to become
a routine.
I wanted to become a thing where I ask the famous Bernard Pivot questionnaire from inside the actor studio with James Lipton.
Oh God, no!
Yeah. That's how I like to answer it, and I just always feel like James Lipton, and I absolutely love it. So let's get straight into it. All right. So, what is your favorite word?
I feel like I should have been prepared.
No, I like getting it off guard. It's better this way.
But I can't. I'm horrible at it. I can't think of it. A word that I really like.
Has some meaning for you, some value. It's pretty. English or Spanish or any language?
Rain.
Rain. That's your favorite word?
It's not my favorite word, but it's the only one I can think of at the time.
Why is it your favorite word?
I like water. I like, what is it? I guess I like the after effects of rain. Like my favorite part about rain is after it rains, if you're somewhere grassy, the smell of the grass after it rains, that's what it brings. That's what I love. So that's probably why I love that word.
What is your least favorite word?
I don't want to say it.
Say it.
No.
Say the word.
The N-word.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like, do you need a reasoning on why you don't like it? Tell me why you don't like it.
Because of its value. Because it devalues humans. And because people still feel the need to say it to other people as a way of bringing them down or making them feel inferior. I've always hated that. I'm not a believer in superiority. I believe in superiority of minds, but that has to do with education and, again, why you have to try to like educate yourself and become the best version of you as possible.
Right.
Like always learning and stuff like that. So people who that I definitely believe there exists. But in terms of humans, there's no better or worse.
Nicely said. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Creatively, film.
Oh.
Film. I think a good film can change your life. By the way it's done, by the meaning behind the story. There's just so much that a good film can do for you as a person, as an individual. Your outlook on life can be changed by one good film. The same way that a book can change people's lives. I feel that film is the same way, but I feel I don't know. I somehow feel that it's more universal than books.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's something that's shared visually, and I guess I don't know. There's something bright, and just something I don't know, like majestic about seeing something on screen and sharing that with other people, and in that kind of togetherness that I absolutely love.
And what turns you off?
I guess, let's see, people who make others feel less, whether it's like abuse, subjugation, just making people feel like they don't belong, making people feel lesser, because that makes them feel better about themselves. That's a huge turnoff to me.
What is your favorite curse word? Any language?
I can't think of anything. There's too many in Spanish. So I guess universal fuck.
Good fuck.
Because it's so versatile. It just means anything and everything.
What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of the ocean. waves. They make me feel happy.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Babies crying.
You know what's funny? The last person that did this said the same thing, but he said babies whining. Like that whine, like not when they're crying for something genuine, like for attention whine. Like, like
nobody
that.
likes that. Nobody
Yeah.
should take that. Parents shouldn't take that. But yeah, no. Babies crying. It bothers me. I mean, I suppose if it was my own child, it would also wrench my heart. But after a while, I would probably
Yeah, you
like,
get numb to
stop
it.
crying.
He's like, I see moms like on the phone while their babies are crying. You know, like they're like over it.
my
What
gosh.
profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Filmography.
What is that exactly?
So I think that's could be anything from like suddenly doing my own YouTube videos or like producing films. I'd love to film documentaries. I think that would be amazing. Go to certain places to talk about cultures and showcase it to other people. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely see that. What profession would you not like to do?
Salesman, because I suck. I'm really bad. I really am. So.
Are you a bad liar?
No.
Oh. I was like, that's great.
No,
That's
I can. Unfortunately, I can lie very well.
And lastly, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? That's how James likes to do it.
You're real?
You say that again?
You're real?
You're real? Oh,
Yeah, I'm atheist, so it'd be a little awkward.
all right. Awesome interview. I want to thank you, Fanny, for doing this interview. It means a lot.
Thanks for inviting me to do it. It was a lot of fun. I got to know myself. It was a little
Excellent.
uncomfortable.
It's always a little uncomfortable, but it's worth it.
Yeah, no, it is. I learned a lot about myself that I didn't even want to know, and now do.
Awesome.
There you go.
And you can reach her at, what was the handle one more time?
Oh, my Instagram. If you feel like looking at my Instagram pictures, I just post stuff that I think looks nice. There is no theme.
What was the handle?
So it's my birthday and my name. So FCZ0529. My birthday.
Okay, and you can reach me at my Twitter, which is at VanitaVJ. And so this is the second installment and the end of the episode. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye, bunnies.